A candidate for Congress is here today, and it's another becoming a dear friend of mine. I got to meet Elizabeth for the first time during her campaign against Dianne Feinstein for U.S. Senate, which she did remarkably well in here for the state of California. She is a woman who I've grown to respect, another woman who has stood by her word at every turn, a woman who stands by principle, a leader who is a true believer in everything that we know to be right, true, and just about the state of California, the United States of America, and our beliefs as God-fearing Americans. Elizabeth Emken is a candidate for California's 7th Congressional District. It's currently held by freshman Democrat Ami Bera. As California's U.S. Senate nominee in 2012, Elizabeth earned over 4.7 million votes, more than any other Republican Senate candidate in the country. That's huge. Elizabeth has an impressive background. After graduating from UCLA in 1984 with dual degrees in economics and political science, she served as an efficiency and cost-cutting expert for IBM, where she helped streamline operations, eliminate waste, and save the company millions of dollars. She was drafted into her second career as an advocate for developmentally disabled children after her son, Alex, was diagnosed with autism. It's a hard life. She's a former executive with Autism Speaks, one of the nation's largest nonprofit organizations. Elizabeth lives in Fair Oaks, right here in the Sacramento suburbs, with her husband of 27 years, Craig, and her 3 children. She's a fighter and a problem solver, and please welcome the next U.S. Congresswoman from California, my friend, your friend, Elizabeth Emken.
Thank you so much. You know, I am Elizabeth Emken, and I have every intention of unseating Ami Bera. Freshman Dem, 1 term, that's enough. Enough of that. You know, it was my great honor to represent you in going after Dianne Feinstein. I do believe we have to, every single time, challenge the rhetoric that we're hearing from the left on an ongoing basis. You know, Dianne Feinstein didn't want to campaign at all, and I don't want to really talk about her, but I do want to tell you something. When she did make comments, she promised the people of California that she was going after your Second Amendment rights. That was part of her conversation with the people of California. She promised to put forward an assault weapons ban, and she did. Fortunately, we still have strong support at our federal level for our gun rights, unlike some of the problems we have right here, right behind us. It's important that we fight this fight every single time. And I also believe it's important that we have women talking about the importance of the Second Amendment, talking about what it means to raise your children in an environment where guns are respected and it's understood the value that they bring to our liberty and to our lives. We have to have more women talking about these issues. You know, we have no women there are no congressional women in the Republican caucus any longer in California. If we are going to change this state, if we are going to get to a point where we can fill both sides around me with people supporting the rights of parents, the rights of citizens, we do have to get more women talking about these issues and why it's important to our families. I'm very, very honored to have had your support in the U.S. Senate race. As Ron mentioned, I received over 4.7 million votes. Now, obviously, this is a big state. But here's what I want you to take away from that. You are not alone. There are 4.7 million people in California that still respect the Constitution, respect individual liberty, and understand that we must insist on a smaller, less intrusive federal government. So there's a lot of people here in abstention right now. There really are. We have to bring them out. There's an environment being created here in California where people tend to be concerned about expressing these views. We're going to turn that around. We're not giving up. No one here is giving up. You wouldn't be here today if you were giving up. I'm not giving up. You're not giving up. Our kids are relying on us. You know, I was fortunate. I grew up in a home. I grew up that had firearms. I grew up around firearms. I used to load shot on my dad's mech press. And I'd do an entire bag, and then he would pay me. He would always say, I'll give you a nickel or a penny a shot. I forget what it was at the time. And then he'd kind of look at the bag, and that's how I earned my running around money. I grew up with a dad who taught me how to use a gun properly. I'm very, very blessed to have had that. You know, one of the things that I didn't know until not too long ago was you cannot look at every Republican candidate for office and just assume that they understand the absolute fundamental rights that are involved with our Second Amendment. I know you all know this, but I do think it's worth, if you haven't had it today already, to read the Second Amendment. It's very short and very clear. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Is anyone unclear what that means? Shall not be infringed. Period. That's the end of the amendment. Dianne Feinstein was wrong. Ami Bera, who, does anyone doubt for a minute that he will vote right along with Nancy Pelosi? Does anyone believe that some of the kind of everyman conversation that he's trying to have right now, does anyone believe for a minute that he's not going to vote right along with Nancy Pelosi? Let me tell you, he's 100% right now. He's going to follow her wherever she leads him. We can't let him become entrenched in this district. We cannot let him become entrenched in our backyards. We cannot let his views be entrenched in our homes, raising our children. We can't let it happen. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that that doesn't happen. You know, I am just like you. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a rich anything. I'm just like you. My husband and I have 3 kids. One of them's at Capital Christian. One of my older son's in his final year at San Juan in transition. My husband and I work for a living. We've got a $2,200 medical bill that we're having to deal with right now. Oh, did I mention Obamacare? We could go off for a while on that. I won't. Let me tell you, the reason I ran for the very first time was because I believe that Obamacare will fundamentally change our way of life, not just our healthcare system, our way of life, and it must be repealed, by the way, must be repealed. I just think I'm committed to repealing and replacing Ami Bera, Obamacare, anyone with this anti-gun agenda. It's time. We've got to keep standing up and fighting every single day, and that's what I have been doing now for quite a while, because I fear for my children's future. I fear for your children's future, and I'm going to keep on fighting. One of the things about, again, that I mentioned that you want to assume is true is that anyone who claims to be a Republican would be a strong supporter of Second Amendment rights. We want to believe that, don't we? The problem is it's not true. So as you're looking at your candidates for 2014, make sure you find out what their record is on guns. Make sure you find out. Don't assume, because there's an R next to their name, that they are a supporter of gun rights. Let me just make this statement clear. I am a firm believer in the Second Amendment. Our rights shall not be infringed, period. I have an AQ rating with the NRA. That is the highest rating that you can get. Make sure they all have it. Make sure anyone you vote. You know, it's hard to say. You know, you don't really want to be a single issue voter. I think this one might be a single issue for me. This might be I think it is a disqualifier. That's how important the Second Amendment is to our fundamental freedoms in this country. I have been very, very blessed. Was blessed throughout the Senate campaign to be able to talk at Tea Party events all over California. Again, those 4.7 million people just like you, they're all over. And I'm asking them to help me unseat Ami Bera. I'm asking everyone in the state of California to marshal their resources, everyone who supported me in the Senate race, and help us take back the 7th District. And the response has been phenomenal. You have friends out there. There are friends all around our district that are ready to help us get this seat back. We're going to do it step by step. We can't get our whole state back overnight, but we can start making inroads. And here's my pledge to you. As your congresswoman in the 7th Congressional District, I will not stop. I will not rest. I will not get into that seat and become complacent. I will talk to the people of California at every opportunity and give them a mother's perspective about why we have to stand up, why we must stand up for our children's futures. The economy, to bring jobs back to our state, to get a smaller, less intrusive federal government. I know how to do these things. Please go to my website. It's elizabethemken.com. Read my issue positions. Understand more about my background and my experience. I've done these things, and I'm ready to do it on behalf of the 7th District, on behalf of the people of California. I worked very hard to support you, to represent you in 2012. Didn't happen then, but it's going to happen in 2014. Thank you so much. I'm Elizabeth Emken. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.